So this is the last step before you do the buttons and buttonholes. So I always do my hems like this. It's going to be a clean finished hem, and you're going to start with a stitch just by itself, single, and then we're going to iron it and then turn it and stitch it again. So start, just you don't even have to back stitch here, but this is going to be a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're following the curve of the fabric. Now I don't do this at a basting stitch because I want it to go slow. Wider the stitch, the faster it goes. As you're going, you can get rid of any long things. As I get closer to the curve, let's see, never mind. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going until I get to the end. Okay, I'm getting near the end here, but I remembered something. I actually had to take it out. Remember, our placket is a little bit longer than the rest of the garment because it has bulk in there, and so we need to give it a little bit more space. So I'm going to taper this from the 1/4 inch, and I'm going to have this end up at a 1/4 inch down here as well. About here, 1/4 inch, and now I'm going to sort of aim down a little bit. There we go. So that I'm at a 1/4 inch now down at the very bottom. And all right, so now I'm going to go over to the iron and I'm going to turn all of this under. So make sure you're going to the wrong side. Turn this under just so that you can see the stitch line on the wrong side. I don't want to see it on the right side. Okay, what you're looking at here is the hem section here, and here's the upper part. And so just make sure that you're, got the hem turned to the inside of the garment. And I'm going to be pinning this hem around at another 1/4. So I had 1/4 on this side. I'm going to turn and do another 1/4 on the other side. And then this side, I don't press it. Fringes. Get rid of that. Turn, pin. So you want to pin this from the correct side. You're gonna sew it from the right side because it won't be straight from the wrong side if you sew it from the wrong side. Pin a lot around here as I go. And the thing to remember here is with a curved hem, you want to maintain your threads, your seam. As you turn it over, maintain a 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle, 90 degree. So turning it here, over the curves, you want to get a little bit closer. The key is if it starts to twist, don't let it compensate, go the opposite direction because it will never undo. You just have this really ugly twisted hem. You can also, if you get to a difficult point, go a little further where it's flat and then backtrack. Okay, when you meet up, you can, decide if you need to, add some ease in there just to get it to all match up or what. Here, right in the middle. Sometimes you do have, because we're going from a wider to narrower, you may need to stretch it a little bit. I'm stretching it just a little bit to get it to be smooth. All right. Pin, pin, pin. All right, so I've got all my pins in, and now I'm just gonna check. I've got it upside down, and I just want to check that I'm gonna be able to use the 1/4 inch or the edge of the foot as my margin. There are places that I get kind of thin on here, so I'm gonna just double check that it's gonna actually catch it and be, close to the edge. So it looks good there. And I'll just see if I can find a thin spot. There's a thinner spot. So if I were to sew that, it's better for me to sew it on the edge of the foot, or maybe I can do, yeah, I think it's going to be okay. But in thinner areas, I might angle over to use the edge of the foot rather than the margin. Okay, so in mind, I will begin sewing here from the right side. Like usual, so just stop every pin. This is not hard, but don't, at the end of this project, people tend to just be like, I'm over this and rush through it. So give yourself some time to do a nice job on the hem and not give up on it at this point. Little lump under here. I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit. You do stretch it, it will make that hem allowance thinner. So think about that before you do it. Everything has a consequence. Alright, so I'll keep going. Yeah, right at the edge there. Okay, so I'm done. I just wanted to show you what it should look like on the wrong side, and to also give you an idea of what the twisting looks like when you have that problem. And this is what it looks like. Now, this is minor because it's going to happen no matter what, but it's on a narrow, this amount, you can easily press it out. The reason is because this is on bias. If it's on a straight or cross grain, it's not going to happen. There's no twisting. It's very natural for it to happen, but you just don't want to go with it. You don't want to let it happen. So this will press out easily. But I just want to note how, this is pretty much perfect for how far you should be away from the edge of the seam, and this is on the wrong side. Let's see, I have a couple little issues here. Just thinking about this as I'm sewing it, you've seen me, I've had several problems on here, several mistakes, errors. It's a very, very complicated pattern. It's very complicated sewing construction. So I think that, don't feel down about things that don't work out. Let's look at it as a lesson. So I'm going to have you fill out a form on your assessing your own sewing ability and your own pattern work. What can you do better next time? I can definitely point out many areas on here where I made mistakes, such as I didn't walk my sleeve, so my sleeve did not fit into my armhole and it was an inch off. Sleeve should be bigger by an inch, but my armhole is a bigger by an inch, so major problem there. I also had some issues at the side seam. One of my side seams. I didn't leave myself enough, I don't know what happened exactly, but I didn't leave myself enough space. It's the wrong side, it's on the right side. So for some, I don't know why exactly this happened, but I didn't have enough to turn under, and so then my margin just got really small, and so it just, I didn't really know how I guess I could undo the original seam, but I don't know how, I'm not sewing it, I'm sewing it for a learning experience, not for somebody to wear. So with that in mind, I don't expect something like that to be taken out and fixed. but I do want you to note that you made a mistake and what do you need to watch in the future. Let's also look at other, major things like having the underarm seam match. This is really important because if it doesn't match here, it's definitely not going to match down at the bottom. Maybe just noting things like, do I want a wider flat felled seam? Sure would be easier to sew, and maybe it would be more even looking. Things like that. The other thing is that, sort of in the terms of conventions of shirts, if we turn over the back collar, it should cover the back stand completely. And I don't know if that's the case when it is folded and on a body. So I'm going to double check that. If it doesn't, then I need to make pattern adjustments to fix that. I had inconsistency in my top stitching because I was trying out different things. So I can, make an assessment, which was better. This one isn't great, but maybe, there's other ones that I can point to that look better. Okay. Another just major thing is that I used a sort of contrasting thread so that you can see it better through the video. And because of that, every little inconsistency is going to show up more than if it was matching thread. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. If you're using white thread, it should be better than not. Okay, so that finishes this video. Maybe I'll do one more on how to deal with the buttons and the button holes. Thanks for watching.